Hello, good people of the interwebs. I happen to be the Tenkaichi of gaming and otaku, Pookie87, and I have another article to share with the free people of the interwebs. Usually, I don't talk about this kind of thing, but in this day and age, in which we have more people bitching and whining on Facebook about how certain, how certain networks don't do this or don't do that. Well, there's some of us gamers out there that tend to bitch and whine and not wanting to do a damn thing about it. So I'm going to share this wonderful little article from Kotaku.com, and it's filed under net neutrality. If we don't want gaming to get more expensive, we need to speak up. Right now, American gamers have it good. Our internet providers might do some slimy things, but today we can all access all the web we can access all the web has to offer without maxing out our credit cards. If we don't want to change, we're going to have to fight. For years now, the big broadband companies like Verizon and Comcast have been fighting against net neutrality, or the idea that all websites and online services are equal, and that internet providers do not have the right to throttle speeds for some services over others, without regulations enforcing net neutrality. A company like Time Warner Cable could go to Microsoft and say something like, "Hey, we're going to make Xbox Live run more slowly unless you pay us more," or "Hey, we're going to make the PlayStation Network faster than Xbox Live unless you pay us more." Any of those extra costs would, of course, trickle down to customers like us, making our regular hobbies, Netflix, online gaming, and who knows what else significantly more expensive. The U.S. government has spoken out in favor of net neutrality, but last night reports emerged that the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, had reversed positions. Under the FCC's new guidelines, according to the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, internet providers could offer fast lane and give preferential treatment to companies willing to pay. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler responded this morning, calling the news reports incorrect in a frustratingly vague blog post that doesn't actually deny what those very reports claimed. The proposal would establish that behavior harmful to consumers or competition by limiting the openness of the internet will not be permitted. Well, Wheeler wrote, "The allegation that will be in anti-competitive price increases for consumers is also unfounded." The FCC has not yet released their new open internet rules guidelines, but if those reports are correct, the implications are alarming for anyone who doesn't want greedy consumer hostile corporations. The implications are alarming for anyone who doesn't want greedy consumer hostile corporations clogging internet services that don't want to pay. What's becoming increasingly obvious is that we, the normal people, who already pay way too much to play online games, need to speak up. Karma coin, anyone? We need to make it clear that this is unacceptable. We need to write letters and make phone calls and ensure that the government works to protect our interests. In 2007, presidential candidate Barack Obama vowed to support net neutrality, and we need to hold him to that promise. "I'm a strong supporter of net neutrality," Obama said then. "What you've been seeing is some lobbying that says that the service and various portals through which you're getting information over the internet should be able to be gatekeepers and to charge different rates to different websites. And I think Destroy is one of the best things about the internet, which is that there is this incredible equality there. Unless if it was called YouTube. Yeah. Boom! The president nailed it back then. And that's a statement worth quoting in letters to your congressional representative. It's easy to be pessimistic and assume that this battle is out of our hands, that greed will win out. But it's easy to contact the FCC. It's easy to email Tom Wheeler and tell him this isn't okay. It might not feel like we have a lot of options, but we at least have one. We can get our voice out there. We can speak up. Now, I wanted to share this with you because, it's like I said, it's going back to, say, anybody who was basically crying and whining and whatnot. And, you know, as I'm looking through all these comments here, you got people who are just basically bad-mouthing the president on the internet. And, you know, they're either bad-mouthing or they're saying something different, but that's their choice. But to go back to what I was saying, you see a lot of change happening. That's because we don't use what God has given us. We don't use the various force of email and or snail mail. We don't use the various power of the pen. And you know what they say about the pen? The pen is always mightier than the sword. Because you can get a lot more out in print or on the computer screen if you just take the time to fix what is wrong. Take, for example, a good friend of mine, Big Fate Plus, right? He has an internet problem. His internet is a glass cannon. Therefore, if he drops for some insane reason, it is usually because his internet is usually just terrible. He wants to make a change. He wants to have it fixed. Send an ultimatum or whatnot. Just because he should have better internet service. And I agree. Anyone should have better internet service, especially those who have HughesNet or anything less than like anybody having HughesNet or Bright House or anything like that. If it's not, you know, the best of the best, then possibly, you know, you need change. And let me tell you, there's nothing like change. I mean, if you see something wrong with it, don't cry about it on Facebook. Do something about it. You know, write a letter, write an email, you know, whatever. Don't let somebody stop you from what you're doing. You don't see something right about this? Do something about it. Don't whine. Don't complain. You're just basically piss and win. That's all you're doing. Well, in a more bare sense, you're not piss and win. You're shit piss and win. There you go. You're taking a shit you're pissing and you're talking all this, and, well, you're just talking to the wind, bro. Just talking to the wind. I can tell you, when I was younger, like around, say, about possibly when I was like in my 20s, what I used to do in my 20s is, if I wrote, say, to Working Designs, back then when Working Designs was still around, if I wrote to Working Designs about something concerning their games, I would instantly get back some kind of response, because they personally wrote back to me. And, I pretty much felt proud because I made a change. I made some sort of effort to say, oh, hey, I like this game, but why is it on this console? And, I kept in contact with Working Designs until they ended up shutting down. And therefore, Game Arts and Excess Games, they picked up on where Working Designs left off, namely with Lunar. So, I can also say that I've not only written to Working Designs, but I've written to NBC. I've written to Capcom. I've even written to Nintendo. And even now, with me still doing Lord of the Rings, I even wrote to Universal. I went to their site. I looked them up through Facebook and let them know, hey, look, I don't want to claim any of your property, but I'm doing this game because I want to do this game. I'm as if you want me to acknowledge it, fine. But let this be known, I'm not stealing from you. Because I said this in a part in which you're going to probably hear that, what I do, it is for free enterprise. I don't try to steal anything. I try to give as much credit as credit is due. So therefore, when one of these parts of Lord of the Rings comes up, and it's going to be pretty soon. In fact, it's about like in 2 parts from now. If you don't hear this week, you'll probably hear it next week. But I'm letting you know. If you want me to do this, I'll give you credit for it. Therefore, I'll acknowledge it. Just don't say, oh, this matches content. Excuse me if I sound if I'm taking pauses. I just gargle, so yeah, I'm taking little pauses because the Listerine is still in my system. But as I was saying before, as a person and as a part of the online community on YouTube, I want to, state my ground. I'm not stealing anything from you. I even done it when I did my Fable 3 Let's Play. I basically spoke out to the company. I let them know I am not stealing your stuff. I don't care if they're bots. I'm letting you know that I'm keeping it as is. I'm not going to take anything off because I feel like if I take something off my videos, I feel I'm doing a great disservice to you guys, to you the fans out there, you the followers, or those who are curious. I do not want to take anything away from what I'm doing because some of you might like the music, so that's the reason why you don't hear me talk as much on my Lord of the Rings Let's Play, because I'm enjoying more of the music, and for the most part, I'm trying to figure out puzzles and whatnot. So if you're wondering why I don't speak as much on the Lord of the Rings Let's Play, there's your reason. Plus, it's like I'm working through the game. I try to give as much commentary as I can. And my apologies if I seem to get these little pauses, like these 10-minute pauses or 10-second pauses. I don't mean to do it. It's a, like I said, it's a mumble. It's a muscle memory reflex. You know, I have a form of epilepsy. I have petit mal. It can't be helped. I'm not asking for pity. I'm not asking for anything else. I'm letting you know that's why I am the way I am. So you can either take it or leave it right there. But as I said, we need to get involved. I'll give another example. Another example would be Sheena Marie Black. Okay, she does her wrestling videos. She usually have me add some commentary just to add some flair to what she already did. That's all right. That's cool. She just wants credit. She wants to give credit where credit is due. And other than that, that's the thing. You want to give credit where credit is due. You don't want to steal from nobody, but at the same time, you want to make sure that they get what they deserve, the credit. So yeah, you want to speak up. You don't want to be pushed, you don't want to be pushed over by the company and whatnot. And that's what we had to do. That's what we had to do in this day and age. We had to take up arms. We had to say, hey, we don't like this. Make sure that you're on the side of us, the people. Because the one thing we need to do is just give somebody a kick in the ass. It's like usually what I do, and forgive the wording, but if I feel somebody has said too much or said something wrong, I will verbally kick them in the ass. I don't believe in, physically beating somebody up. No, I believe in verbally kicking somebody in the ass. I don't really say it that often, but if they're out of line, I will personally say it to them. I will personally say it to them. You've gone out, I will blow up on them. They know when to step the fuck back. Because I had to speak up, I had to speak out. And it's like that damned commercial on Cartoon Network. It's what you do, it's what you do. Speaking up is what you do. I swear. I hate that, but it's the truth. You need to speak up. If you really want change, you have to speak up. And I mean this in general. You have to speak up. Don't worry about, if you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. As long as you get your point across. They will indeed respect you because you got your point across. Because you said what you need to say. And the point is that we don't do it enough. I know plenty of people that actually do that. They actually don't follow through. You mad about it? Take it up with the opposition. Tell them why you deserve better service. Tell them why you don't want this to happen or that to happen. I mean, it's like this bitching and whining can only get you so far, but if you do not follow through and actually say, hey, I want you to listen to what I have to say, you won't get anywhere. Because it'll keep continuing and continuing until you're defeated. They won't look at you with respect, but they'll simply laugh at you. And I quote Carrie, they're all gonna laugh at you! And that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna laugh at you because you let them push this far. And just by that alone, you don't want that. So there's that. So I mean, my end result for saying this is stand up for what you believe in. You see something wrong, nip it in the bud. You gotta nip it in the bud, and nip it in the bud. That's what you have to do. So, to my friends and colleagues, followers and subs alike, I am going to indeed do this. And of course, I'm going to fly. Anyway, I am indeed going to post this in the description box below, so you can read it for yourself. And of course, if you feel like it, share a bit of feedback on this video, as well as many other videos that desire feedback. And I had to say, I'm not sorry for doing this. In fact, I feel pretty good that I'm doing this. I'm glad I did it, because I've been hearing too much about this and that happening, and if we want change, we need to do something about it. We don't need to stand by and watch as our whole lifestyle goes up in flames. We need to do something about it. And this is one of the ways I feel we need to do something about it. Because if there is something wrong, you best believe I'm going to say something about it. And I'm going to do something about it. Regardless if I have to use email or snail mail, whatever means. I will get my point across, and it'll be done. So you should do the same thing. Lead by example, as they say. So, in any case, I have been the Tenkaichi of gaming and otaku, Pookie7. And thank you for watching and listening. And of course, Tenkai Muso. Never give up the fight.